Hey guys, so due to the positive response on my video where I was like going over logs and looking at cooldown usage and stuff, and the positive response to my suggestion about looking at viewer logs, I decided I will go ahead and start doing that. So in this first one, I'm going to look at it quite slowly, a lot slower than I probably will in the future, and really show you guys where I'm looking and why I'm looking for, or why I'm looking there and what I'm looking for, so you guys can kind of at least get the basics down, or like a basic idea of how to do it yourself for your own logs. Since obviously I'm not going to be able to look at everyone's if everyone starts linking me logs, don't have the amount of time. So if you guys can do it on your own, that would also be really helpful, I'm sure. Then of course I can look at it and look at like the little things per fight that made us come with experience or whatever. But either way, that's kind of the focus of this one's going to be primarily on showing you where to look, and then also looking there on this person's logs that they kindly gave me their logs for this first one. So that being said, I also want to mention that I got a new headset and I'm currently using the default mic that came with the headset. If you don't like it or do like it, let me know, because I can get the old mic back, but I need to buy more adhesive to put it on my head, because right now it doesn't, it's not going to stick on there without more. I ran out. But anyways, moving on, let's look at the logs. So first thing first, I'm looking at what we actually have access to here. We have Talik, a mother, and the Zekvaz mythic log. Now, which boss is best to actually look at? I kind of want to look at all of them for different things. 2 p.m. Oh, that's weird raid time. But we got Talik here. I can look at that for like cooldown usage and flame chuck up time and all that. And Mother is kind of hard to look at things, but I can mostly look at cooldown usage and how much you prepared for the last phase. And then Zekvaz, I can look at cooldown usage revolving around the ads. I'll start from the top. The person that linked these logs is Zio. So first thing we're going to look at is actual just basic uptime on the damage done page, which you can find over here, active. This is the amount of time you spent while attacking the boss. Everyone's going to have a little bit of downtime, but just between casts or even in the precast and the opener, no one ever has 100%, but you want as close to 100% as possible for most classes. The Shaman we're looking at here had a pretty good uptime of 99.65. You may have missed like one frost shock or something when you went Ghost Wolf maybe, but it really anything in the anything in 99% is generally like acceptable. It's pretty good. So good, did a good job there. Now we're going to click on his name to look at a little more in-depth breakdown here. First thing first, I want to look at Flame Shock. Now Talik is an interesting fight because the intermission, there isn't like any good reason to keep Flame Shock up. Like there is a reason to keep it up, but with the cooldown and all, it's a little bit hard to make sure it's not being like you don't want it on cooldown when the ad spawns is what I'm trying to say. So a lot of people just don't bother. So having 75% uptime is like okay. You probably didn't flame shock the boss at all during that phase, which ideally you can fit some in, but it's definitely a very min-maxy thing that has some higher risks, so you may not want to. And I can see here that your lava burst crit 100% of the time, so you obviously had it up on whatever you were attacking at all times, which is fine. Like if you look at flame shock damage by clicking on flame shock, you can see that he did have it up the entire time on something. So let's see when this phase started, like 132 to like 311. That's a long phase. Didn't know it lasted that long. Let's just like you click on here, you can like drag it over, and then you can close this. And now we can see 99.08% because I misclicked the drag a little bit. Go up here and reset the zoom and do the same for the other side, or when they lusted. And here we can see 95%. You might have missed it here. I'm going to cuddle later. 99.2. Very, very close to perfect. A little off. Did I mess it up again? Okay, yeah. You probably refreshed it on the ad or something in the beginning of that phase. So pretty much perfect uptime in this phase and the first phase. So overall, totally fine. But if possible, you do want to get it up on the boss between the ad spawns if you know you have time. Or for example, if you're looking at it and close this, you're looking at it and like the ad is going to die, your flame shock cooldown is up, and the ad's going to die before your flame shock falls off. That'd be a good time to flame shock the boss. Let's get more lava surge procs, get some maelstrom going, things like that. But now that we're done looking at flame shock, what else do we want to look at? We want to look at actually one of my favorite things to look at for like very basic log reviews. Like if someone likes it in Earth Shrine, I don't have a whole lot of time. I want to make sure they're not doing anything horribly fundamentally wrong. I'll look at the flame shock uptime, I'll look at the active time, I'm gonna go over here to click on his name first, so we have the right person. Go to resources, click on hit points here and make it Maelstrom, and you can see if they overcapped at all, if they're wasting Maelstrom anywhere. In Legion, this is a little easier to quantify because it was much harder to, or it was much easier to overcap, but here you can kind of see he didn't overcap at all, which is really good. You got around like 70, so it's, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't, it's hard to tell just from looking at this if you use it too much, like maybe you could have saved it till after like a love burst or something. I'm not really sure. It looks like you were probably doing that well because I can see you use lava burst there, lightning bolt overload, and then earth shock. But yeah, this looks good. It looks good. Now we look at things like cooldowns. So we see they lost at about 3 minutes in. So ideal cooldown usage here is, so what sounds is he using? Let me double check that. I should look here first. Echo, Ascendance, Liquid Magma Totem, Aftershock. Not sure about Aftershock, but that's more of a preference thing. Look over here. So ideally he used Ascendance and Fire Rally and LMT on pull, and then Ascendance and Fire Rally with Lust. And then it's going to miss like 5 seconds to Fire Rally, but that's probably more. It's probably, actually, you're definitely getting more out of Lust. And someone died, so you can't really plan for that. But let's see when he used them here. We have Ascendance. Perfect. She delayed that a little bit, but that's fine because it was your last use anyway. So delaying a little bit in that part is not going to hurt you at all, as long as it's still during Lust. And Potion, which it was, so that's good. Now I'll get rid of these. And when did you use Fire Ellie? That's good too. Use it on Pole and then with Lust. When was the... Okay, when actually was the Potion? Okay. Right around like 3:15-ish? I think you may have used the Potion after Fire Ellie. Actually, no. Okay, use it all together. That's perfect. Excellent. Okay. Now Liquid Magma Totem. Looks good as well. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 uses in. You could have technically got 6, but again, like, you probably didn't plan around this death happening. You probably expected this boss to die before 5 minutes, so saving it for like a couple seconds in a situation like you want it for Lust here or something, you probably saved it there. That is totally fine. So you played your cooldowns pretty much perfectly. Actually, let's look at the on-use trinket first before we talk anymore. Oh, that is not what I expected to see. I expected to see you save it for Lust like everyone else does, but that was nice, nicely done. So you use it on pull, use it here, and then you use it for when it's in. So his cooldown usage is actually pretty much flawless. I'm assuming this was used with Ascendance, yeah. So we looked at that, and that was, so far everything has been pretty much perfect from what we can tell. So I'm not really sure what else I can look at on this log. You could look at like if they have flasks or something on buffs. If they died, you can look at death and see what actually killed them. But I don't really think there's any need for that. Did you have a flask? You did, okay. So I'm gonna make sure there's nothing I'm missing here. Then I'll come back and we can go on to another boss if there is nothing I'm missing. So there's one more thing I want to mention before I move on from Talik, and that is that I don't see any frost shock damage. Now, that isn't necessarily bad, because in some situations you'd rather Ghost Wolf, like with Hardened Arteries, you can Ghost Wolf and negate the slow. And if you get the blood debuff and gotta go fast, you can Ghost Wolf, and then maybe you get Earth Shock and refresh Flame Shock or whatever. You don't necessarily ever want to Frost Shock, since it is pretty much the last on the priority list of what to do. But this is definitely one of the downsides of vlogs instead of having a video. Ideally, you have a mixture of both so you can see every little thing. But this is where I would watch the video to look at like movement, positioning, everything, if I had a video as well. So I could see if there's any situation where you should have used Frost Shock, or if there's a situation where like you had Lava Burst up and didn't use it or something, because those are the little things that logs won't tell you. But otherwise, everything on Telic looks good. So we're going to move on to Mother now for a brief look at that. So I popped on over to Mother, and this is a very unfortunate looking damage log. Looks very much like you're going over pretty early. But my favorite thing to do for bosses like Mother, where your positioning and stuff really affect how you would play, is first thing I go to is the replay. I'm going to click on, there's a lot of Shaman in this raid. Click on your name here, and we're going to play it. And we're going to see when you cross over. So which one is it? This one right here. So you open like normal, whatever. Pop your cooldowns, Love bursting. I wish it would show you what your cooldown is on abilities here so I could actually see it. Okay, then you had to cancel that lightning bolt to run through. Oh, you guys are all running through together. Interesting. I've never actually done that. Okay, not all together, but a lot of you went across. Then you popped your Stormkeeper to AoE these down. That looks good. So you all crossed around the same time, except for a few people. Speed this up a bit. You're kind of just AFK right now. Well, they wait to cross. I don't really know why they haven't crossed. I'm not sure what you guys are doing. Never done this chat before. DH is over there, probably dropping darkness for you guys to cross or something. Yep, there you go. Couple more cross. At this point, why don't you just go all in? I don't know, but I'm not gonna. I'm here to judge strats. I'm here to look at gameplay. Now you're all crossed. I'm assuming at 3 minutes in, you'll all cross again. Yeah. Around 3 minutes in, rather. Not at exactly, but okay. Yeah, 3:30. You're all heading over there to cross again, and just about everyone crossed again. About 3 minutes. So what I don't see here is how long the ads actually lived. Okay, that's annoying. There we go. Got that taken care of. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch how long these ads actually live. Is this a situation where you'd want to like store melee or something? What would be worth using here? So you all cross over. The ads are gonna start spawning. A bunch of ads spawn. Well, they are dying really fast. So probably best not to use store melee for that kind of thing. You're probably right in not using it. Are these dead yet? These are all dead, I think. Yeah. Then when did the boss cross over? Why is she alone over there? Did someone die? I think the tank died. And you lust and you burn. So yeah, I think with this strat, I think you played the right build here. I said to know what strat you're doing, because Mother's a boss where like the strat really affects what you actually do. So let's look at what build did you actually play? I only got a brief look at it. Played Echo, Aftershock, Liquid Magma Totem, Primal Elementalist, and Stormkeeper. Okay, so that's probably right. If the boss crossed over with you, I would probably go Storm Elemental, because you could use it on the boss, and then when you cross again, you could do it again, and you could get all the cleave onto the ads. And there's no way the boss is going to die while the ads are just still dying, right? So you're making sure you get the full benefit out of Eye of the Storm. The one thing I don't like about your talent choice here is Aftershock, but I can tell by your talent log that it's just kind of a preference thing for you. I think you just like Aftershock, which is fine. It's just Totem Mastery in this fight in particular, while you're sitting there waiting for the boss to cross or whatever, you're gaining Maelstrom the whole time, so it does definitely gain some value from that. But Stormkeeper, very good. Now, what I want to check here is that you crossed over at the beginning. You used your on-use trinket and everything, which is good. And then I want to see where you use your Stormkeeper. I want to see if you use Stormkeeper again during the phase. So let's check that out. You did, but only once. But I kind of see why you saved it. Okay, so the first one you saved for the 30-second mark when you actually all crossed, which is what you should do, for sure. The second one you used when the second part of the group crossed, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's partially on Mother. So this is when like that Fury Warrior, the tank, and the healer, and like I think there was one other guy. This is when they crossed. Could you have fit another one in between? No. So that was right. That was the right decision there to save that. Now, next one is when you guys all cross again. Could you fit another one between there? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? No. So again, that was the right decision there to save that, and then you use it at the end there. So this is actually really, really good. This cooldown usage was pretty much perfect. Now, if you use Liquid Magma Totem at the same time, it looks like you use Liquid Magma Totem on the boss. I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would use it with Stormkeeper because it does a lot of AoE as well. But maybe I'm not really sure. It just depends how long the ads would actually live, because they did die pretty quick, and you may not get many ticks out of it. But here it looks like you used it when they crossed over, which is good. But you did. It was about 2 minutes when that happened. That may have been worth like using Liquid Magma Totem immediately, and then using it here. Like if you're going to use it on the pole, you probably want to use it immediately. Use it directly on cooldown, which actually may not have been feasible because you may not have had anything up. So I don't really know what would be best here. but I definitely would probably use it about the same time using Stormkeeper, I think. Because pretty much all of your Liquid Magma Totem uses were single target, and that is a talent that is also very good on AoE. So that's one thing I can kind of criticize there, but I don't want to say it with confidence that that is the right choice because I don't actually know for sure how long ads have to last before it's worth it. But then Berserking, ooh, you only used it once. Okay, that's a. Did you die? Hmm, you did die at the very end, but yeah, you should use that again. Probably with the second Fire Rally or something. Use that 30 seconds. When did you use the second Fire Rally? Yeah, you should have used Berserking again there. Use it on the pull with Fire Rally, which is probably best bet. And then, since you're only getting one Fire Rally and one, or sorry, two Fire Rallies and two Berserkings, use them together again with Lust. This is where you'd want to use the second Berserking, but it looks like you forgot or something. Not really sure what happened. Or, I mean, it's also possible you used it and didn't hit anything during it, like you fat fingered it or something, right? If I wanted to see that, I would go to casts and look for Berserking. No, you only used it once. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and assume that was just a mistake that you forgot or something. So that is one thing I can definitely criticize there. I finally found something I can criticize. Your gameplay's been too good. Did you use Meteors? Oh, you didn't. Aha, I found two things. Yeah, you gotta try to use Meteor if you can. In this situation, you're using Fire Elite before you cross, but he's still going to be up when you cross. So, if possible, I would use it like you did. Would it be up when you cross? I think so. If not, you probably should use it a little later, to be honest. Because Meteor is pretty good for AoE, so you'd want to have the Meteor up for the ads. It's like you use it like maybe 15 seconds in, then when you cross, you Meteor the ads. And Fire Elite will actually go back and attack the boss, I believe. So even if you come cross before he's done and you have to meet the ads, he will go back and fight the boss, I'm pretty sure, if you have a Flame Shock still up. And the second one, you also didn't use Meteor. So Meteor is something you definitely want to try to fit in to your Fire Ellie if you can. It does do more damage than any other cast would. So definitely try to get that in there somewhere. And your Ignition Fuse, when did you use those? You used one on the pull. You used this one with, looks like just on the boss. Might have been like right on cooldown, actually. And this one with Lust, with Fire Ellie and everything. So that's pretty good. If possible, this one could have been a little earlier on the AoE, but I don't know if that would have been worth it. So maybe you did the right choice here, waiting for the boss to come over. Yeah, probably use it as soon as the boss comes over. So yeah, your cooldown usage was overall pretty good. The only thing I'd question was for one, the Berserking thing that you didn't use, and the Liquid Magma Totem usage not being on the ads. Those are the two things that I wasn't quite sure about. So now let's move on to Zekvaz. So I'm taking one look at this Zekvaz pool, and I'm already liking it. You got top damage from Storm Ellie, and it looks like I'm definitely thinking that you used it on the first and the second ads, which is, as you guys may know, my favorite. So let's see what talent you use. You got Exposed Elements, you got Storm Ellie. Okay, you got the talent build I would definitely use here. You have the talent build I do use here. Uh, Trinkets are probably the same. Yeah, Conch and Ignition Fuse. Who died here? I don't. Okay, it wasn't you. I'm making sure you didn't die, as I don't overlook something negative. You died right at the very end from an MC, so I'm assuming you got one of the last orbs. Unlucky, but let's take a look at your cooldown usage. Actually, first thing first, Flame Strike uptime on this boss does kind of matter. There are arguments for like maybe when the ads are up, you wouldn't want to refresh Flame Shock, or you'd want to put it on the caster ads and not the boss. So 92% uptime is probably pretty good. Though you did have at least one love burst that didn't crit. Looks like you only had one that didn't crit, but that is one too many. So try to avoid that. But that could just be like a lava surge that you instinctually threw out, which I've done that before. So I'm not going to criticize that too much. But that flame check uptime was definitely at least a minor factor in this kill. How much damage did you actually do? I didn't look. What was your uptime? Mother is not really worth looking at uptime. His uptime was a little low. but he was dead for... No, okay, he wasn't dead for very long. So the uptime being 98.31% is making me wonder if maybe you got like a debuff and you were running out and didn't use Frost Shock at all and just kind of ran, which potentially could be the correct choice if you were dying or thought you were going to die. You could Ghost Wolf or Spirit Wolf, which you are currently running Spirit Wolf, so perhaps that was what happened. Let's check out your buffs and look for Ghost Wolf here. Where is Ghost Wolf? There it is. You did have a little Ghost Wolf uptime, 4.77%. Is that what that actually means? That's a lot of percent of the boss being in Ghost Wolf. You're in Ghost Wolf for quite a long time here. What happened there? I might check the replay on that. About 6:30, you were in Ghost Wolf for like over 10 seconds, like 14 seconds. So that's something that's worth noting to look at in a minute. But so let's get to the fun stuff. When did you use Stormily? Yes, you used it. Can I look here? Is this easier? It's so hard to tell on that graph. Now, logs seem to be having a little bit of a slow load there. Got Stormily. Okay, he used it at 46 seconds, which is 15 seconds before the first ad spawn. And you saved it till there. That is that right? What? I feel like I just saw it over here. There's no way he saved it that long. Okay, he didn't. I'm confused. The logs are confusing me. This isn't how this is supposed to go. For some reason, it's not showing the one in the middle, but I can tell that you did it. Okay, I figured it out. I don't know why I was doing that, but we found the problem. So we used it at 45-ish, which is right about where I'd recommend using it. 14 seconds-ish before the first ad spawn allows you just enough time to get the full Eye of the Storm out comfortably with Cold Lightning onto the ads, while still using it early enough that you can use it on the second ads, which is what he did here. I guess the problem was that I had it looking at Zekvoz, not Nerubian Voidweaver. I'm learning with you. I'm learning things about logs as well. But the second one was right around here on the second ads, and the third one was with Lust. So that is pretty much perfect usage. Could you have gotten another use if you used it again? So 3:15-ish. That would put me at 5:15, 5:45. You pretty much use it on cooldown, actually. Okay, so no. You didn't have time to get another one in. So yeah, that's pretty much exactly how I would recommend using Stormily, so good job on that. Head over back over to here. And let's check out the Berserking usage. Okay, that's pretty much what I do as well. You use one on pull, and the second one you use on the second ads, which is probably the most optimal way to use it. But again, on this fight, you didn't seem to use Berserking at the end. You had another Berserking up. You probably want to make sure you have like a weak core for that or something. It seems like you, at the end of the fight, maybe it gets a little hectic and you're forgetting that you have it, or you're just not noticing it or something, but you definitely need to be using that again during Lust, or even after Lust, or somewhere. Just use it again somewhere, because you had it up for about 90 seconds without using it there. Just double check I didn't get this wrong. Yeah, only 2 uses. So that is something to work on for the individual that posted these logs. And Ignition Fuse here, we got... Ooh. That's not good. He saved it for 2 minutes. It's a 2-minute cooldown. So in this case, you would want to use it on pull if you're planning to use it on the second ad set. Got 4 ads. What is this? Oh, the ads are 2 minutes apart. What am I doing? What am I thinking? But no, use it on pull here if you're going to do this. Use it again here, and then again here. It seems like this is like at the tail end of these ads. It's kind of crazy. These ads are still up. The Void Reaver is still up. But we're going to move on from judging their raid's DPS and go back to judging his DPS. Yeah, use it on pull, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, and then 6 minutes, which this one was a little late. I'm not sure if you purposely saved it till after Lust. Maybe you got your orb here. I'm not really sure when you got the orb. We can check that. That's a thing we can find out. Corruptor's Pact. 6:45. We're looking at Ignition Fuse. Yeah, at this point, I guess either use it with Lust, or you'd wanted to save it for your orb, but I guess you You didn't necessarily know when you were getting the orb, so that's kind of hard to do. Maybe you were going to save it for the orb, and then she didn't think you were going to get one, so you just used it, and then next thing you know, they're calling for you to get an orb. I've seen that happen a few times. But so you could have got another use in there for sure, so make sure you're using that on pull if you're going to save it for 2 minutes, because it is a 2-minute cooldown. Potion. I'm assuming there was a pre-pot, and it just didn't show it, maybe? If not, then there should have been, but I'm not going to judge someone for not pre-potting on the third boss of a raid, because that's something they definitely know they're not doing, probably. Now, Stormkeeper usage, this is one that a lot of people do wrong on Zekvaz. Yeah, you did the same thing as the log I was showing. Well, not quite the same. You did a little better than I did, but similar thing to the log I was showing on the other video, where you saved it for the minute to get it on the ads. You saved it for the 3 minute to get it on the second ads, which sounds good. And you want to save it for ads, but you could have gotten more uses in there by just using it directly on cooldown. You could use it on pull and then use it on the first ads. Use it on directly on cooldown around here, then use it on these ads, and then surprisingly these ads are still up. At least one of them was. You could use it again here, which is what you did, and then use it on around 6 minutes. I'm not really sure why you didn't use it around here. You could have fit one in here, probably one like around here, and then one more near the end. So you missed a couple uses of Stormkeeper there. You got all of the important uses in, but you did lose out on some single target damage by not using it pretty much directly on cooldown. That's pretty much how you use Stormkeeper in this fight. Just on cooldown every single time. So something I kind of forgot to look at here. I just did a jump if you didn't notice. I don't know. That probably sounded weird. But because I didn't move my mouse. But something I didn't look at here. For one thing, this is kind of useless on Mother because a lot of the time you just overcap with Totem Mastery. But I guess in his case, not necessarily true because he wasn't using Totem Mastery. But resources, Maelstrom. And you wasted a little bit. And it was all from Chain Lightning Overload. So that's fine. Wasting from Chain Lightning Overload is very expected on a fight with AoE and Stormkeeper. It's something you can't really avoid. If you use Chain Lightning with Stormkeeper at like 50 Maelstrom, you're going to overcap on 5 targets, so don't worry about that. Everything else looks good. And then we want to check, I guess it's pretty obvious, you can see right here they're using Earthquake on the ads and not like the wrong thing there, so that's pretty good too. But yeah, there were a couple little things on the cooldown usage, and your flame check up time was a little off. Because we can check what it was actually on, or rather check if it was on something at all times. It did appear to be on something at all times. Not sure what you love bursted with the non-crit. I would like to check that. I don't really know how. I'm not familiar with checking something that didn't crit. I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much. But there's a few minor things. But like I said, in this video, I was mostly looking at showing you actually how to look at things and how I will look at things on the logs. And if there's a VOD included, instead of using the replay, I could use that. But the last thing I want to do here is I do want to check the replay on that Ghost Wolf. So it was a period of time. Let me double check when it was. About 6:30 that he was in Ghost Wolf for like 14 seconds. So what actually happened there? Target 0 here. Head to around 6:28. Yeah, he went Ghost Wolf. That surging thing. Is there like I-beams? Are you spreading out for I-beams? You used wall. You took damage. Something crazy is happening around here. I don't know what's going on, but it's apparently very wild. Sit back and watch that again. Are there I-beams happening here? I can't really tell with the replay. I know that surging is happening. And it looks like they're all trying to spread out, but I don't actually see any I-beams happening. But yeah, whatever it was, it killed Magicus. So we can check on that. Unless he just died to getting MC'd. But he died, yeah, he died to getting MC'd. Okay, never mind. I don't really know what was going on there, but you were definitely in Ghostwolf for a really long time. you were kind of low health, so it may not have been like it may not have been a bad choice to be in Ghost Wolf and just keep that damage reduction up. But it looked like you were pretty lost. You were like kind of running off on your own. That if it was during I beams, that's understandable because you're trying to spread. But if it wasn't during I beams, it seems like more just like a discomfort with the fight. But we're not going to linger on that for too long. All right, so I think I have officially said every word possible about these 3 kills for that individual. This may have been a little longer than I originally intended, but I'm not going to cut it down or anything because I just bumped my volume button. But I'm not going to cut it down or anything because I do want to make sure I don't leave anything out. I want you guys to get the full experience of me looking at the logs and discussing them and criticizing them to help you improve and help you understand how log reviews would normally work on this end. And like, I hope I went slow enough to really show you guys what I'm actually looking at. I kind of forgot to go super slow near the end, but it was, I guess, if as long as I show the full screen, you can kind of still see what I'm clicking on and where I'm looking. I showed you the basics and stuff at the beginning. I hope I didn't do too bad of a job, but if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I'll be watching the comments to answer. And if you liked this, let me know as well, like the video. And if you want your logs reviewed, feel free to link them in the comments or on Twitter or wherever else, and I will collect them and pick randomly from them and do something like this to look at them. And if you have a video along with the logs, that would be awesome because then I can go look at these specific events and give much better feedback because I can actually see mechanics that are happening and how you're handling them and movement things. And that's something that I think I'm pretty good at least from an analysis standpoint. I may not be the best at actually performing on it, but I am pretty good at knowing where you need to stand and when you should be there. I just don't always put it into action the best. But if I can watch a VOD, I can tell you exactly what you did wrong. So if you do have a video, please do link that as well if you want that to get looked at too. But anyways, guys, that is it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like if you liked the video and subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.